Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, I played my second set part of my All for One solo session, and so this one isn't going to be a real recap of it. I felt like I already did too many spoilers, but once again, Francois brought it, and it was a lot of fun. We got to explore a lot of the ubiquity mechanics that we haven't used before in a combat, which was great, and we had a social dueling situation, which we got to use those as well. Um, and so it was a very satisfying session, and I felt like I had been in the ring with Mike Tyson. Thank God the session wasn't a full 3 hours in a row or whatever it happened to be. It's broken up. It would have been epic if it wasn't broken up. But I really, after both sessions, felt pretty much exhausted. Elated but exhausted. But I want to talk about something that happened during the sessions, and probably even more during the second session than the first, and that is the effect or phenomenon of bleed, or bleeding out. And if you're not familiar with that term, the idea, of bleed is that, if you feel something, the character feels something. That is bleed in. You're literally bleeding from your emotional state to the character. You're mad at somebody at the table, the character's mad at somebody at the table. Or bleeding out, where the emotions, the state of the character kind of bleed out into you. And so if the character starts to feel frustrated, you feel frustrated. If the character is mad, you're mad. Very immersive. And if you want some more discussion about that, you can go to the channel Emergent Play, and it has a lot of little short videos about frames and bleed and all kinds of cool stuff. Anyhow, the point of all that was that I started to experience that as Philippe, Francois pulled out all the stops, and so Philippe had just a tremendous amount of traumatic revelations. He came face to face with the reality of the heavy tax on the French peasantry, of which he was, nominally a part, even though he was kind of a son of a minor noble. But he went back to his own hometown, his own home area. He met people that he grew up with. He learned that his father died. He learned that his girlfriend was now part of the resistance. He learned that she was now dating or engaged to another man. A lot of difficult things happened. And he got put in a very, very difficult and dangerous situation where he had to choose between his values and his values, two sets of values, and he really had to start make a hard choice. And I enjoy a game where my character has to make hard choices, but these were some very hard choices, and they're one after the other. And so it was a very emotional session for my character. And as a result, it became a very emotional session for me as I really got immersed into what that would feel like. And that's part of why I play. I wasn't aware of that years ago, but now it makes a lot more sense. This is where I get really engrossed and enjoy the game the most, is when I step into the shoes of that character. What would it really be like to be this young man Philippe in Paris and France at this particular period of time? If the things that we're dealing with were actually true, what would he, if these situations were real, what would it be like to be him? And so I got to experience a little bit of that, which was awesome. But as a result, it had a profound effect on me during the game, and I even thought about it after the game, for quite some time. And I'm not sure how much of that actually conveyed to the screen, to the audience, so to speak. I mean, we're not doing this, for the purpose of entertainment. It's something. It's neat to be able to broadcast these on YouTube and share them with some people that are interested in them, and to go back and watch them ourselves, and to have some kind of record of the campaign, which is more of why we do it, and to also just expose that particular game to people. So a lot of fun, but it's not done for the purpose of entertainment. We had a discussion very recently in a group I'm part of, where we talked about the subtle difference between, and sometimes not so subtle difference between acting, acting as the character, or acting the character, is probably a better way to put it, and playing the character, being immersed in the character. And that can be somewhat of a dividing line sometimes. Sometimes we ham it up, and I've certainly been guilty of that, where I just portray who this character is, and exaggerated mannerisms and whatnot, which can be a lot of fun. But there's a difference between acting for the purpose of entertaining others, or to purposefully convey the internal state of the character, all that sort of stuff. Literally being an actor. That your job as an actor is to convey this character to the audience, whether it be in theater or film or I suppose now in some role-playing games online, to convey it to the audience. Or even if the audience is the other players and the game master, right? Or becoming that character, becoming immersed in that character, and so you may act as, like them. I'm not sure if you go back and watch those sessions, and you see, how my expressions and countenance changes, and some of the things I say or the way I say them. I'm not sure how much that frustration and emotion that Philippe was feeling as he made some of those hard decisions or faced some of those hard truths came out. I don't know. I certainly was feeling quite a bit at that particular point in time. And I've been told I don't have a poker face, so possibly some of that stuff came out. But it's very different. Those are two very different things. I'm not saying one is superior to the other. I can tell you which one I like. And I can tell you also that they don't necessarily always gel at the same table. If some people are there for the purpose of acting and being entertained, which nothing wrong with that, and other people are there for the purpose of being immersed in their characters. Different subject, different topic. But I certainly had that experience of that very immersive experience where there was a lot of bleed out. And I wouldn't have told you years ago that's why I played role-playing games. And then sometimes I definitely want to just go kill some orcs and roll some dice and have a good time in that manner. But I enjoyed the session. I enjoyed thinking about it afterwards. But it was kind of a remarkable experience. I think it was probably more profound or more or stronger than I've experienced in most of my role-playing history or career. And maybe it was just because Francois just pummeled the crap out of me. It literally felt like doing a few rounds with Mike Tyson or whatever other boxer you want to talk about. I got the crap beat out of me, or my character did, and as a result, vicariously, so did I. And oddly enough, not being a masochist, I could still say it was a cool experience because I got to experience some things or make some hard decisions that I probably would never be in the position to make. So thank goodness. Alrighty, so what do you think about all that? Have you had experiences similar to that? Have you thought about the difference between acting your character or experiencing the world as your character? Tell me about it.